California shifts rightward on crime in an election fueled by frustration. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. People actually don't want criminals on the street. Oh, my God. I'm so shocked. I'm so shocked, guys. Incredibly shocked. Feces, okay. I'm so shocked. Terribly shocked that people don't want criminals in the street. They don't want crime in their city. Oh my gosh. They want cops to actually arrest criminals and not be nice to them. They actually believe in order to stop crime, you actually have to get rid of the criminals, as opposed to just saying, well, it's a lack of opportunity. It's a lack of opportunity, and that's why, you know, they have these problems. That's why they out criminals. Voters in the Democratic-run state overwhelmingly approved a measure to impose harsher sentences for crimes and were on their way to ousting 2 progressive district attorneys. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that people actually want crime to be dispelled and gotten rid of? As opposed to the state just saying, well, it's a lack of opportunity, and what we need to do is get rid of the prisons. You see, the reason why we have a lot of crime is because of the prison complex. That's the reason why. It's because we're over-militarizing the police, and we got the American private prison complex, and we just putting people in prison and shooting people, and that's not going to get rid of the problem. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It actually works. Who would have thought that actually getting rid of criminals, putting them in prison, putting them in the human pound, that's what prison is. Prison is a pound for wild humans. That's what prison is. We have pounds for dogs. We also have pounds for humans. It's called prison. And criminals belong in the pound. They belong in the pound for feral humans. That's where they belong. They don't belong out on the street. They don't belong in society to be catered to and told, oh, well, the reason why you a scoundrel and a criminal is not because you a scoundrel and a criminal and you chose this life, but it's because of a lack of opportunity. That's the reason why. No, it's because you're a wild human and you have no boundaries. You don't give a damn about boundaries. You don't believe law applies to you because you're an arrogant narcissist. And because you don't believe that laws really apply to you, you think you have the right, and you think that you are owed the right and the privilege of robbing people. That's what you believe. That's what you believe. I think we should militarize the police. I think we should have more of a militarized police force where you have cops with some heavy firepower in the streets, and I think we should give the cops more of a green light to go out and actually do their jobs. Sniff out the suspicious people looking like punks, people with weird ass tattoos, covered in tattoos, look like gang tattoos. They should be arrested and at least just interrogated to make sure they're not a threat. They really need to just pounce on these bastards and get rid of them. I mean, get rid of them. Get rid of the criminals. Absolutely. Put them in a pound. That's where they belong. They belong in the pound. You ever see American prisons? Anytime there's a cameraman who goes to an American prison to do a documentary, to do some sort of documentary work, you always see the criminals just screaming and yelling a bunch of nonsensical words. Like, they're not even screaming real words. They're just making noises. They're hollering and making weird noises that are not even audible. And they remind me of when you go to a pound and you go to the section of the pound where the dogs that nobody wants live. And they say, listen, nobody wants those dogs because they'll probably tear your kid apart. But they're in there and more than likely they're going to get euthanized. But you go into that part of the pound and all the dogs are... That's the human pound. You know, it's a pound. It's a pound for humans. That's what I believe. When's the next Mel Gibson movie? I can't wait. I can't wait for the next Mel Gibson movie, everyone. That's what we're about. We are about in this... that's all we're about in this YouTube channel. We are just really about pushing the government to fight crime, and we're all about, you know, praising Mel Gibson movies. So let's read some more of this stuff. California has shown no signs of going Republican anytime soon, but in Tuesday's elections, the reliably liberal state lurched to the right in ways that might surprise other Americans. So basically, being anti-crime is now right-wing. This is where the liberal media fails every time, where they start naming things right-wing that are not really right-wing. If you don't like crime, that doesn't make you right-wing. It just makes you a normal human being. No normal human being wants crime. The only human beings who want crime are abnormal humans, dysfunctional humans, and people from New York. Those are the only people who want crime. Everyone else, they don't want crime. Normal people don't want crime. California has shown no signs of going, okay, blah, blah, blah. Fed up with open-air drugs. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that people don't want to see druggies on the street? You know, you walk into a restaurant, you see some guy sitting on the table, not ordering anything, not buying anything, not purchasing anything, not eating anything. Well, he's eating something, but it's not from the restaurant. He's eating, I don't know, a half bag of Frito-Lays or some bullshit, a half bag of Lay's potato chips or Funyuns or something, and he's got a half-consumed bottle of Sprite, and the bottle is warm because it's just been sitting in his backpack for weeks, and he's just sitting there with his skin all red from all the drugs and alcohol he consumes, and he's just sitting there. Nobody wants to see that. Why does nobody want to see that? It's not because they're assholes. It's because, one, it's grotesque to look at. It's weird to see someone who doesn't want to contribute to the business that he's hogging, the business that he's taking space in, and he's just sitting there not buying anything, not contributing to the business at all. The business is there to make money. They're not there to be a homeless shelter or a crazy house. Secondly, those people can flip at any moment. They can get up and start screaming and yelling and waving a knife around, brandishing a weapon. God knows what these people are going to do. They're like the tigers that those two Swedish guys own. Remember those white tigers that were so famous? And then one day the tiger flipped on the owner and almost killed that Swedish dude. That's what it's like having a crazy drug addict in a restaurant in public. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody. Crazy people on a bus. Nobody wants to see a crazy person on a bus. You're in a bus. It's in a narrow area. Everyone's really close together. A lot of bad things can happen. You don't really have a lot of room to fight or to run away in. And you could be very susceptible, very vulnerable to a knife attack. And things like that have happened. So nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to see open drug use in the streets. And you have all these assholes out there, these schmucks. Oh, well, we need to legalize all drugs. That's people's constitutional right to be drug addicts. Listen, they're not hurting anyone but themselves. They're not hurting anyone but themselves by taking drugs. It's a free country. If they want to take drugs, they can do so. They can do so. And then you have this bullshit. So that mentality, that bullshit that I just expressed to you, this is the result. This is the result of this crap. This is the result. Open drug use in the middle of the streets, just destroying an entire area. It's garbage. That's complete garbage. And, yeah. Nobody wants to see it. You know, it makes perfect sense why nobody wants to see it. And then they'll say, well, we didn't ask for this. We said we wanted for all drugs to be legal. We didn't say that drugs should be openly used in public. We stipulated, we specified that a law must be passed in which drug addicts will be able to take drugs in the privacy of their own home, not in public. Oh, I see. So you want drug addicts to follow rules. Have drug addicts ever been known to follow rules? People who here's the thing, and I've said this before. The reason why you go to these areas where drugs are allowed to be consumed and you see drug addicts everywhere is because drug addicts don't care. Drug addicts don't care about rules because they're on drugs. When you're on drugs, drugs take the part of your brain that makes you give a shit, not give a shit. So that part of your brain that says, well, I better not do that because I don't want to look foolish in front of my peers. That part of your brain that tells you that, that's very important for public order. You shut that down. They don't care. A drug addict is not sitting there saying, well, I should be in the privacy of my own home before I take fentanyl. They don't give a damn. So here we go. Open drug use. Nobody wants to see that shit. So here. Fed up with open-air drug use and smash-and-grab robberies and shampoo locked away in stores. Yes, isn't that amazing? You walk into this blue state, it's the biggest state in the most populated state in the country. You can't even buy freaking toothpaste without having to go in and ask the guy with the key to open up the gate so you can get your toothpaste and your shampoo and your whatever it is, your lotion. Now, I remember back in the day, the only product that you had to ask for someone to take out of a cage was the video games. That was it. You went to Kmart, and it was just Kmart. I remember it was just Kmart. You went to Kmart and they had all the video games in a cage. You had to go there and ask the guy. He opened the cage for you, took the game out. Now it's toothpaste, it's underwear, it's whatever. But, you know, the reason why people steal and rob is because of a lack of opportunity. These people are starving. You know, if you're starving, you're going to do whatever it takes. You know, you're going to be... But yeah, okay, no one gives a shit. Nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody wants to deal with that. So, California voters overwhelmingly passed a ballot measure, Proposition 36, that will impose harsher penalties for shoplifting and drug possession. Oh, wow. People don't want crime. But most Americans are critical of the police. Apparently not. Voters in Oakland and Los Angeles were on their way to ousting liberal district attorneys who had campaigned on social justice. Social justice. Social justice. These people have a lack of opportunity. And if you don't want them robbing you, then you don't understand. You are a hindrance to social justice. The reason why you got robbed is because that man was starving for social justice. He wasn't just starving for some food to go down his mouth. He was starving to have social justice. And you were in his way for social justice. How dare you not want to be robbed? How dare you not want to be robbed? You awful human being. Promising to reduce imprisonment and hold the police. Okay. Oh, I love this. Look at what these bastards were asking for. District attorneys, probably paid by George Soros, right? Do they have Soros money? That's true. Look into it. Look at all these left-wing district attorneys who hate cops, who find any opportunity to screw over cops for doing their jobs. Look at who they are. Look at who funded their campaigns. You'll find out most of the time it's money from George Soros. It's the Soros money. That's what it is. Look what it said here. These district attorneys had campaigned on social justice promises to reduce imprisonment, and hold the police accountable. You arrested somebody because they was trying to rob a store and you tased him in the ass. Then you gonna get what's yours. You gonna have time in prison. And then you're gonna have these other judges that are gonna come. I don't know, Mr. Eduardo Gonzalez is gonna pop up with his Soros ass, his Soros-backed ass. No one is above the law. We need to have social justice, and that means applying the law to everyone, not just civilians, not just criminals, but also the police. The police have been getting away with everything for too long. There needs to be law and justice for everyone. Equality for everyone. No one is above the law. No one is above the law. The police are going to be held accountable. So now you're arresting cops for doing their jobs. I saw this video of cops tasing a guy because he was a criminal. And most of the cops were African American, by the way. They tased this dude. The guy never cooperated with cops. He didn't want to cooperate with the police. He didn't give a damn. And they tased him, and he didn't want to listen. So they said, listen, sir, we're just going to keep electrocuting you until you get up. He didn't want to listen. Guess what happened? This criminal, who was a big lard ass guy, he ends up dying from all the tasing. And it's the cops' fault all of a sudden. It's the fault of the cops because he died. No, it's the... Oh my God. This moron. Let me show you. So I'll play you guys the video if you want. I think I'll play it for you guys. It's pretty funny. The guy dies. And you know what happens? The cops get arrested. Yeah. Cops get arrested. For what? For doing their job? This guy, this is what he was doing. He was meandering and wandering around. He was loitering. is what he was doing. He was wandering around the hotel parking lot. The hotel owner said, listen, you got a guy who's super tall and big, and he's walking around the parking lot just staring at random customers who are trying to, it's in the middle of the night. They're parking their car. They got their luggage with them. They just want to get into the hotel with the kids. They don't want to see some guy who looks like he's from the underworld of Bikini Bottom looking at them. All right, they don't want to see that shit. So the hotel calls the cops and they say, listen, could you get this guy's ass out of the damn parking lot? He's scaring the customers. So the police come along and they said, listen, sir, can you just leave? I mean, you haven't really committed a crime yet, but you're being trespassed. And if you come back, I'm going to have to arrest you because at that point you would be committing a crime, the crime of trespassing. So you are being trespassed. You need to leave because you're scaring the customers. Let's not make things difficult. Make it easy for us. So the guy leaves. Hallelujah. A compliant person. Shocking to see. 10 minutes later, guess who shows up? The loiterer. And there was a black woman cop in the parking lot, and she said, oh, hell no. Don't tell me this dumbass coming back. Don't tell me this boy coming in here with this dumbass back to the parking lot. Yep, he's back. He comes back. He's walking around the parking lot like a moron. What do the cops do? They arrested him. He doesn't want to comply. Doesn't want to give his hands to be handcuffed. Fights back, resists, does everything. Like 5 or 6 cops get on this guy. They're trying to restrain him. He's not complying. They're trying to put the hands behind his back. He's not complying. So the cop shocks him. Not complying. Shocks him again. He dies. What do you want the cops to do? He's committing a crime. A crime must be punished. The law must be enforced. So the cops get prosecuted. Yeah, they get prosecuted. They get charged. I don't know if they got prosecuted, but they got charged. Under some district attorney who was probably getting backed by George Soros. Yeah. And then you wonder why crime goes up. Because cops need to feel like they can do their job without hearing some bullshit from some guy or some woman who sounds like she's preaching on a Sunday morning about social justice. So here we go. They wanted to help the criminals and they wanted to attack the police because no one is above the law. Nobody. You know what's so funny is that Juan Merchan guy who wanted to put Trump behind bars, and that other guy, what was his name? The district attorney guy over there. I think it was in Washington or New York City or wherever. They wanted to put Trump in prison. The same people who wanted to put Trump in prison were the same people who want to let criminals be free to commit crimes. Oh yeah, look at them. Look at the people who were involved. Look at the people who were involved. They were saying, well, if you go to a Subway and you just jump over the booth, the ticket booth, without paying for your ticket, that's not a crime. Oh, so no one's gonna pay for their tickets anymore. So the damn subway train's gonna shut down. So you damage society. So people who need to use that subway system are not gonna be able to use it. Why? So people aren't gonna pay their tickets. So now the criminals are leeching off of the law-abiding citizens. That's what people need to understand about crime. Criminals are leeches. They leech off of the law-abiding citizens. So the reason why criminals steal things, right? They go to stores, they steal. Those stores have those products on the shelves because there are enough people who are paying for those products. If no one's paying for the products are not on the shelves. So those products are on there because people are going to buy them. And those businesses exist because enough people have been law-abiding and they have paid for the products in the store in order to keep that business alive. If everyone's stealing, those businesses don't exist. So the thieves come along and they steal the products that are there because of law-abiding citizens. Then what happens is that the stores are financially damaged. Then the price of the goods have to go up because someone needs to pay for the products that go missing and that are not paid for because they're stolen. Who then has to pay the higher prices? The customers who are law-abiding. Who also is hurt in the process? The business owners, because they have to pay rent. They have bills to pay to maintain the business. So the entire society is damaged. You have these schmucks who come along and they say things like, well, I mean, Walmart is a multi-billion-dollar business and it doesn't really matter. I mean, if someone steals a bag of Cheetos, who cares? And they're just big businesses. But what about smaller businesses who are also hurt? And yes, big businesses also get hurt by massive thievery. That's why they leave certain areas. But we got food deserts. How come Walmart ain't in our neighborhood? How come Walmart ain't in our neighborhood? Because it's a bad investment. Simple as that. Everyone is hurt. And the people who live in those areas where you have a lot of crime, who just want to live their lives, they also get hurt because they don't have a good grocery store. I don't pay for a Moscow bus system though. Well, okay. I can't imagine not paying for a pass on the Moscow Metro. You see this all the time on Twitter. People just hopping over the ticket booths. This guy wanted to put Trump in prison. All right. Now I said, listen, if they put Trump in prison, it's going to cause a civil war. I said it. It's going to cause a civil war. And you know what? It didn't happen. And thank God it didn't happen. Because you have these schmucks who come around like Alvin Bragg and Juan Merchan. And they say things like, no one is above the law. No one is above the law. If average people are going to be arrested for crimes, then the former president of the United States, Estados Unidos, he's also going to be put behind bars. He's going to be put in prison. He's going to be put in prison. I don't care. Well, these are the people who wanted to put Trump in prison, right? Look at this guy. County District Attorney. Now check this out. Check this out, everybody. Look at this bullshit. Hold on a second. Legal career. Hold on one second. Here it is. Policies on low-level offenses. Look at this bullshit. Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, Fannie, whatever her name is. All right. January 4th, 2022. Let me make this a little bit smaller. All right. After 3 days in office, he announced that his office would no longer prosecute low-level offenses such as fare evasion, that's hopping over the ticket booths, resisting arrest, prostitution, and cannabis-related misdemeanors, unless accompanied by a felony charge. Let's help the criminals out, everybody. Yep, we need more prostitutes, more potheads. That's what we need. He also decided to seek lesser charges for burglaries. You can rob people. That's okay. It's not going to be a felony. It's just a misdemeanor charge. You're going to be out after 40 days. You're going to be out after 40 days. Felony charges for burglaries and store robberies, where the offenders display hold on a second. He also decided to seek lesser charges for burglaries and store robberies, where the offender displays a dangerous instrument but does not create a genuine risk of physical harm. So I can go get a gun, give me your money, bitch. Take your money. It's just a misdemeanor. Bragg disputed what he described was a legalistic interpretation of his prosecution policy memo and indicated that he supported a zero-tolerance policy. I never supported tolerating crime. No, I got a zero-tolerance policy for violent crimes. Oh, wow. February 23rd, 2022, Carrie R. Dunn and Mark Pomerantz, the lead prosecutors in the New York County District Attorney's investigation into Donald Trump and his businesses, resigned abruptly, blah, 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 blah. So put cops in jail, put Trump in jail, but the people who are destroying society, that's fine. That's fine. Now, here's the thing. I remember I said it in the video. I said, guys, if they put Trump behind bars, it's going to be a big-ass problem. It's going to cause us at least civil unrest, serious civil unrest. It's going to cause serious problems. And I was right. I truly believe I was right. Now, but it didn't happen, and thank God it did not happen. Thank God they didn't put that guy behind bars, because it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. They want to put regular criminals on the street, but they want to put this guy behind bars. You're better off just putting the shoplifters in prison than putting Trump, because the shoplifters are more destructive than Donald Trump. The shoplifters are more destructive than Donald Trump. But yeah, I said it. If they put Trump in prison, it's going to be a big problem. And I really believe they took that Merchan guy aside and they said, listen, asshole, if you do this, it's going to cause a lot of problems. You're not going to do this. And the Supreme Court came out and they pardoned Trump, and it was just great. Hallelujah. I said, hallelujah, guys. Thank God that didn't happen. These people, they want to destroy the country. They really do. By helping criminals out and then putting Trump in prison, getting his followers all riled up, then his followers would cause violence, and it'll cause even bigger problems. And then you have a country that's on the verge of a civil war. Who the hell wants that? Life's too short. So people in California are tired of criminals. Who would have known? Who would have thought, right? Such a shock. But I thought people in California, they was liberal. I thought they just wanted high taxes and more criminals. And social justice. I didn't think that they would not want drug addicts and criminals walking around the street. Here we go. Let me know if the music is too loud, everyone. So it says here... Oh, they wanted to expand rent control, which means allowing entire apartment complexes to become just ghettos. It's a rent control area. You cannot raise the prices. But I got a bunch of hood rats walking around. It's a hood rental. Okay, it's a rental for the hood. It's a slum. You a slumlord. Okay, you are not a landlord. You a slumlord. Amid a conservative shift nationally that included Donald J. Trump's reclamation of the White House, voters in heavily Democratic California displayed a similar frustration, challenging the state's identity as a reflexively liberal bastion. I love it, guys. I absolutely love this. Why do I love this so much? Because it really goes to show that the whole liberal facade of being the people of compassion is going downhill. And the bottom line is Donald Trump did not lose California by a whole lot. There were literally millions upon millions of Californians who voted for Donald Trump. The only problem is that there weren't enough Californians who voted for Donald Trump, but there were millions of them nonetheless. And if I remember correctly, Donald Trump only lost California by about 1 million votes. It's not a whole lot. And the thing is that when you're confronted with high crime rates and a bunch of homeless people and a bunch of drug addicts, you don't want that. So then you start voting for policies that would get rid of those problems. Then they say, oh, you're right wing. I doubt that these people are really right wing. These are just liberals who are pro-abortion, they're pro-Sodom, but they just don't want high crime because no serious human being wants high crime. Trump turned New Jersey into a swing state. He turned Pennsylvania into a swing state, which is amazing. And Mr. Trump appears to have gained ground in California compared with 4 years ago based on initial election returns, despite facing Vice President Kamala Harris in her home state. She was still ahead by nearly 18 percentage points after a vote count update on Thursday, but Joseph R. Biden Jr. won in 2020 by 29 points. The mood this year was very negative about the direction of the country, especially, but also the state, said Mark Baldassare, who was a political scientist and the statewide survey director for the Public Policy Institute of California. Lots of concerns about the direction of the economy and worries about the cost of living and public safety, blah, blah, blah. In Los Angeles County, the district attorney, George Gascon, was overwhelmingly defeated Isn't there a Disney character called Gaston or something? The Beauty and the Beast guy, Gaston, he's our man, he eats 20 eggs a day. Is this his relative? Gaston gets defeated again. 4 years ago, his election was seen as a monumental moment for a national movement to elect progressive prosecutors. This is the most important election ever. Yeah, I know. We've been hearing this every single election. I get it. It's bullshit. It's mainly bullshit, guys. This time, his opponent, Nathan Hochman, who is a Republican turned independent and a former federal prosecutor, won with roughly 60% of the vote in initial returns. Wow, that's great. Crush those frickin' George Soros people. Crush them politically. They need to be crushed politically, these people. They need to be driven out politically in an election, in a democratic election. And the people have spoken. The people have spoken. It doesn't matter how much money Soros pumps. Everyone says, oh, it's George Soros' fault and blah, blah, blah. It's not George Soros' fault entirely, all right? He does share a blame in this, don't get me wrong. He is pumping money into this garbage. But the reality is that people voted for those district attorneys. People voted. Like that lady, Anna Kasparian. She voted for this bullshit. She lives in California. She voted for it. She said, oh, well, I voted to allow people to steal without getting a felony charge. She said that herself. And now she's saying, well, I didn't want all this crime to happen. I didn't want to see all this homelessness, but I did vote for this law that said that you could rob a bunch of stuff, and as long as the stuff you rob is not worth $900 or more, or above $900, then you're not going to get a felony charge. But she voted for that bullshit. People vote for this bullshit. So here's the bottom line. The bottom line is that people choose, and everyone says, oh, the power, it's in the elites. The power, it's in the powers that be. It's in the billionaires. It's in the George Soros, in all these people, and blah blah blah. The reality, everyone, is that the power is in the people. The power is in the majority. All right, that's the bottom line. If you get the majority of people to agree with you, doesn't matter what the elites do. It doesn't matter what George Soros does. It doesn't matter what any of these people do, because they cannot defeat the power of the people. That's just the bottom line. That's just the bottom line. Guys, I have a really dry mouth. I need to get some water. 1 second, okay?